raining and cold because while I do enjoy that weather, I know that not everybody does. I'm a weirdo, so what are you going to do? Hey, it's a great day here at Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240. Be sure to get us on the TuneIn Radio app for your smartphone. Just go to TuneIn and then search for Hot News Talk Radio. You know, TuneIn is one of those apps where it's kind of hard to say because have you tried saying tune in? It's really difficult. Use tune in. Get the tune in app because it's like you're tuning in on a radio, which not a whole lot of people do anymore because they have digital tuning. So you're not doing the tuning. You're just pushing a button and it does it for you. But whatever. It's called the TuneIn app on your smartphone. It works on iPhone, Android, even heaven help you, BlackBerry if you've still got one of those. Just get the TuneIn Radio app and then search for Hot News Talk Radio on there, and you can listen to us streaming live. Go to the website hotnewstalkradio.com. and you can listen to us streaming live there as well. And on YouTube, we're streaming live with video on YouTube. And we're always popping up on Periscope at one point or another as well. I don't stream on Periscope as much as some of the others do, but occasionally you'll see me walking around and mumbling about how this is how things work or something like that. So be sure to check that out. That's Hot News Talk Radio here on YouTube. And I want to get into how we can stay informed because that's such an important thing nowadays. In this day and age, staying informed is probably one of the more important things you can do. It's not like in the 1800s where you could walk around and not know that the earth revolves around the sun. You could do that then, but that doesn't really fly now. You could go around and not know that, say, there had been some attack at a port somewhere. You could go around and not know that and you'd be okay. But nowadays, we have to stay informed about basically everything because it always comes up in everyday conversation. We got to pack that info into our heads. So how can we do that? Well, if we're talking locally, then there are quite a few different ways to stay informed about what's going on, especially when it comes to police activity in our area. So like, let's say you're like me and you live in Catoosa County and you want to know what's going on when you hear sirens. Well, one way to find out actually is to listen to a police scanner. And those are a lot of fun, by the way. Not just because it's fun to listen to the cops, but also because it's sort of fun to feel informed. It's fun because it's almost like being in an action movie. It's kind of bizarre, actually, but it's really great when I listen to the police scanner. I have a lot of fun with it. One thing that was not so fun, obviously, was the attack, which just occurred not too long ago. I think Wednesday was when it happened, where the San Bernardino conference center, it was a county building of some sort, which was attacked by an extremist. And listening to the police scanner of that gleaned a lot of information which was not put out in the media beforehand. And that's one other reason to listen to a police scanner. Because keep in mind, while people in the media do listen to police scanners like myself, they won't always publish everything they hear. Now, some have different reasons for doing that. Some will say, well, it's for operational security for the cops, or it's for the privacy of the people involved, or what have you. But whatever their reasons, you're not going to hear everything that goes out of the police scanner on a media outlet like ours. Although I do try to get out as much as I can, especially if you looked at our Twitter back when that was happening. I was tweeting out all sorts of different things. Like, for instance, we found out his name way before media reported on who he was. And we found out that there was a female involved way before a lot of other people did as well. So there was a lot going on. And reportedly, we're just now getting this in, by the way, the gunman's wife had pledged allegiance to ISIS. So that's just coming in. So this could potentially have been an ISIS attack in California. All indications are pointing towards that. So an ISIS attack on our own home soil is certainly something to be concerned about. So we live in a very different world than it was even just 10 years ago, or maybe I should say 15 years ago, because 9/11 happened longer ago than I thought. Still, we live in a very different world, and it's important to stay informed so we know what the heck is going on, because things are changing very rapidly. So one great way to do that is with a police scanner app. One of the ones that I use a lot is the 50 police scanner. 5-0 police scanner is really good. If you have another one that you want to recommend, that's cool too. Call in at 423-800-8949. The thing with sort of basic functions like a police scanner is there's a bunch of different apps. So I haven't tried all of them. Obviously, I can't try every single police scanner app that there is, but I've tried a few, and I think 50 is the best one. But you might have one that you think is better too. And if you do, hey, awesome. You can call into 423-800-8949. I usually, to be quite honest with you, I usually listen on my my computer, my desktop computer, as opposed to my phone, just because I'm usually at my desk when I need to listen to the police scanner. So I listen on Broadcastify, which is a resource for, well, doing that. So be sure to check that out as well. Broadcastify is a really good resource for listening to that. Well, anyway, another good resource is one that I was just, my attention was just called to it yesterday, actually, hc911.org. Definitely worth checking out, hc911.org. Thanks to Duke for showing me that one, by the way. hc911.org. It shows you all the different 911 calls which come in. Now, you don't get a whole lot of detail with those, but you can sort of connect the dots. Like, let's say you hear sirens in the distance and you're in, say, Hamilton County, and you go to your police scanner and you hear the cops, they're moving to this particular location, but you don't really know why. So you can look at hc911.org in Hamilton County, and you can then see what 911 call they might be responding to just by scrolling through them. So like you see call of shots fired, that's probably it, but you can also see the location of where that is, so you can get a better idea of what's happening. And then you can look on Google Maps, as an example, and follow the police scanner, and basically you can visualize what's happening in real time. And it really makes a very exciting experience, but it also gives you an eye into just what the police go through every day. And it is an interesting thing to do. And if you get the chance, I would definitely recommend that you try that, just to see how it is to listen to a police scanner. I think it's a lot of fun. Well, security is something that we take really seriously nowadays, and we take it more seriously now than perhaps we did before, and that's good with our computers. But something that has been thwarting security quite a lot, actually, is something that we saw when the whole debacle in San Bernardino went down. Was we saw actually planes circling overhead on a website called Flight Radar 24. Now, on Flight Radar 24, it tracks all the different planes flying about. And there's actually an app for Flight Radar 24, by the way. It's a really nice app. It's a little bit hefty, but, you can spare the memory probably nowadays. Memory's so cheap. But Flight Radar 24 is a great app for tracking different flights. And actually, you can point your camera at the sky, at a plane you see, and then you can get the call letters for it and find out where it's going. You really can't beat that. That's just so cool to me. I'm really into sort of that, ham radio broadcast sort of thing anyway. So maybe it's a little bit more interesting to me than it might be to you, but I think it's a really cool function. But anyway, what we saw on Flight Radar 24 was we saw unmarked planes flying overhead in San Bernardino. We saw at least two of them, and I think there was a helicopter as well. Now, those weren't media planes, because we could see the media helicopters already, and plus we could see the shots that the media helicopters were taking. So we knew it wasn't them because they weren't even in the same area. But what we were seeing were these planes circling overhead in a very well-defined pattern, just circling overhead. And the speculation is those planes were carrying what's called dirt boxes. Now, dirt boxes are used to scoop up cell phone information. Okay, so cell phone information would be like metadata, as well as your texts and your phone calls in real time. Now, of course, that's illegal without a warrant, but that, it's California. That doesn't stop them. There's actually been quite a few federal Supreme Court rulings about that and how it's not legal. But again, that doesn't really stop anybody. Just like how there was the NSA just came out saying that it's going to stop looking at your metadata. That doesn't mean that they're going to stop looking at all of your data. It's just one particular section is no longer useful anymore, so they're going to move on to something else. Yeah, but anyway, this is not a show about that. So these dirt boxes can scoop up your cell phone information, and really, there's not a whole lot of ways to combat that. One thing you can do, of course, is to put your phone in airplane mode when you're not expecting any calls and you're not wanting to use it. That would be a way to prevent you from being tracked. But the thing is, I'm sure there's some way to disable airplane mode and make sure your phone is constantly pinging back and forth with these different cell phone towers. Really, the only way to be totally secure in terms of a communication-wise is you would have to be in a Faraday cage with your phone in a separate Faraday cage inside the Faraday cage, and you'd have to be sitting inside it and passing notes back and forth, which are written in some sort of high-level encrypted code. And that's kind of unlikely. And even then, there's always some way to spy on you. So there's no such thing as complete security. It does not exist. There's no such thing. And it's the unfortunate truth of the modern world. It used to be that you could go somewhere and you could be in the middle of nowhere and have a private conversation with somebody. That's no longer true, and it probably isn't going to be true ever again. You're probably not ever going to be able to go to a particular location and have a private conversation. I doubt it's ever going to work that way ever again. Just because the way technology is progressing, it makes it so unlikely that you're ever going to be able to have a truly private conversation ever again. So we have to deal with that. That is a fact of life. That's a fact of the modern world we live in. And it's annoying, yes, but there are different ways to sort of circumvent that. There actually are encrypted chat apps that you can use. Talks is one that I can think of just off the top of my head. There are a few open source encrypted chat apps. But for your phone, I'll have to get back to you on that one, actually, because while there are encrypted chat apps, not all of them have been vetted as being legit. That's the thing. I'll have to read some studies on them first, because while an app may tout itself as being, this is a super secure app and it's great and it keeps you from being spied on, if it's, say, closed source and we can't look at the encryption, there could very well be backdoors in it. So I can't, off the top of my head, think of any encrypted chat apps for your smartphone that I can give you right offhand. If you can think of one, awesome, but I can't right now. I'll have to get back to you on that. This is AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio. We're everywhere. You can listen live to Hot News Talk Radio over on the TuneIn Radio app for your smartphone. That's TuneIn on your smartphone. Check us out on the TuneIn Radio app, and then go to hotnewstalkradio.com on your computer as well to listen to us streaming live there on your computer. We're brought to you by Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds. There's a total store sale going on now. You need it now, not after Christmas. 50, 60, and 70% off on designer jewelry and gifts. Also, get cash when you sell gold, silver, bracelets, rings, diamonds, jewelry. Rick Davis will pay you cash personally. That's cash, cash, cash. Get some today at Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds. And this is the perfect season to be buying a gift, of course, and one of the ones you can buy is some jewelry from Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds. If you need some cash, right, for buying gifts, not necessarily jewelry, but you need cash for buying gifts, you can get that from Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds. If maybe you have some big, just really a gaudy 70s gold medallion that has the Hulk on it, come on, you can get rid of that and get some cash for it too. So go to Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds and you can get yourself checked out there. Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds. Hey, by the way, Facebook has an instant messenger, and while it's not secure by any means, a lot of people use it and possibly don't know all the functionalities that it has. It actually surprisingly has quite a few. So you can go to the Facebook Messenger app, and I'm going to open mine right here, and I'll open up a chat window with somebody, and I'll sort of walk you through some of the different functionalities that it has, because they are actually kind of cool and kind of useful. So you have the regular write your message thing, right? Like, that's just the regular thing. Write your message, you tap on the little text box, and your keyboard pops up. You can also take photos, frontwards facing and backwards facing, if you have a camera that will support that. You can also choose photos from your gallery. That's really nothing new. You can choose stickers, which are just little like emoticons that you can send to somebody. So say I'll tap on this one and then send it to somebody, and it just sends a sticker. You also have, and this is one of my favorite functions actually, is there's a little microphone that you can record a memo. So all you have to do is hold down on the record circle, and then you can send a memo to somebody. And I think that's just really cool. Also, you can send actually money. Fun fact, you can actually send money to people on Facebook. They say it's free and secure. Now, I'm not sure how free and secure it might be, but they say that it is, and you can send money that way. So there's a lot of different ways to use the Facebook app that perhaps you might not know about. So there's a lot of different apps for the Facebook app, which is even weirder. So like, say you open the Facebook app, on the right-hand side, there's a little ellipses. It's a black box with 3 white dots in it, and you can actually download different apps that will let you send different things. Like, say, here's one that's animated GIFs that you can send to people. Here's one that lets you draw and you can sketch back and forth. And here's one that lets you actually make stickers. There's all sorts of just little things. Some of them are pretty silly. Some of them are kind of fun. But you can actually get a lot of different apps for the Facebook Messenger app, which is really weird. You can also get Imager, oddly enough, on the Facebook Messenger app. So go figure. Something that somebody asked me to cover, by the way, was what exactly is Instagram? And I hadn't really thought about it before. Like, I hadn't thought about explaining Instagram before, but why not? Let's get into it. So you can launch Instagram right now. And if you haven't installed it, it's easy. And Instagram is actually owned by Twitter, by the way. So go to your app store, be it your Google Play Store or the Apple App Store, the inferior app store. Go to that app store, type in Instagram, and actually just type in INST and it'll probably pop up. But tap on Instagram, and then it'll ask you to install. It's rated teen for some reason. Don't know why. You can install that. And then once you create an account, and you can actually log in with Facebook or Twitter. Once you create an account, you can scroll through all the different people you are following. Now, the kind of cool thing about Instagram is that really it's just for you to make sort of a photo album for you to share with other people. It's not really useful. It's more of a recreational thing. It's really, I think of Instagram as just a mega time waster, because it totally is a big time waster, but it's a cool and fun time waster because you can see all the different photos which different people are taking. And actually quite a few celebrities are on Instagram as well. If you want to see what Kim Kardashian's doing, I guess, I don't know. It's up to you. Twitter's another thing where people tend to be kind of baffled by Twitter. Like Facebook is easy to figure out, but I notice a lot of people who are on Facebook aren't on Twitter. And honestly, I think that's kind of a mistake because Twitter, I like Twitter better than Facebook, actually. Twitter's a lot more fun. There's a lot more stuff on Twitter in terms of good content. Facebook is really kind of stagnant for me. Like, if I didn't have people overseas who I liked keeping in contact with, I'd probably just get rid of my Facebook, honestly. I don't have a whole lot of use for it other than just keeping in contact with people over chat. I almost never update my Facebook account. But Facebook is good for getting updates from different organizations that you like say Hot News Talk Radio, which is actually on Facebook. And our Facebook feed is actually linked to our Twitter feed. So you'll see a lot of the same stuff on both. But it's a good idea to follow both because some things work on Twitter which don't work on Facebook and vice versa. So it's a good idea to just follow both. Especially if you have your smartphone, you'll just get your updates right there, and it's easy peasy. And right now on Twitter, actually, we're getting a lot of different people tweeting at us right now. So go to Twitter and then search for Hot News Talk Radio. We'll pop up, and you can see all of our tweets there on Hot News Talk Radio on Twitter. So be sure to check that out. Hot News Talk Radio on Twitter, where you report the world decides. That's AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. After me, by the way, is Colin Cowherd. We just got him on. We managed to snatch him away from who had him before. Colin Cowherd is right here on Hot News Talk Radio. He is the #1 national sports talk show host, and we've got him right here on Hot News Talk Radio. Colin Cowherd. He talks about all sorts of different sports, and it's funny. I'm really not into sports. I'm really not. I mean, I really am not. But for some reason, I can listen to him. And I can also listen to Clutch with Keon Rose because Keon does a really good job covering the news. Honestly, or sorry, the sports. I'm sure he would do a good job covering the news too, but that's my job, Keon. Sorry. I think he does a really good job doing the doing sports. And really, he's just good at it. I'm kind of impressed every time I listen to Keon because I think, man, the kid's got skill. Even though he's 5 years older than me, the kid's got skill. So listen to Keon Rose. He's on every weekday here from 1 to 2. And his show is Clutch with Keon Rose. He talks about sports, and he gets a little bit more local than Colin is. And you can actually call into Keon if you want to. Number to call in here, by the way, is 423-800-8949. That's 423-800-8949. Yes, you can even call from overseas because it seems like international calling nowadays is super cheap. I'm wanting to set up a texting line as well. So you can text the show also. So I'm wanting to get that done. I don't really want to give out my personal cell phone number. Not that I have a problem with you guys calling me on it, but I'm not really down with just handing out my cell phone number because I get like a lot of business stuff on it too. So I don't want to, if I have to switch, problems. But I'll set up a separate line for texting so you can text me on my cell phone here at Hot News Talk Radio, and we can communicate that way. So you can text in your questions, and you can also tweet in whatever you want me to cover on Twitter. You can also text or tweet me directly. It's at Radio Russell on Twitter, at Radio_Russell on Twitter. And I'm right there. My photo is there, me wearing glasses, which is funny because I don't actually wear glasses. So you can check that out on Twitter, Hot News Talk Radio on Twitter. I just want to get to the news real quick because some things are coming up. And I am the news director, so I'm sort of putting on that hat again. It looks like Fox News is reporting that the shooter in San Bernardino's wife reportedly had pledged allegiance to ISIS. Now, that's not confirmed yet, but if that is true, that's certainly troubling. We're getting photos as well of the weapons which were used, which are not legal in California. They're 2 AR-15s and 2 handguns. One appears to be either a Springfield XD or a Glock, and I'm not sure which. We'll talk more about that later. This is Hot News Talk Radio.
I'm blowing everything up. We're starting over. I'm doing a new show. I want guys who push it to the middle of the table and go over the top. Take a risk, fail miserably. I'm right, and I'm not wrong, and I'll never back down. Conflict works. Allow it.
It's The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Right here and everywhere. Noon Eastern.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds. We'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Lay your burdens down at the woodhouse. Leave all your worries at the door. Just take some time. We're transforming life.
Happy holidays
at the Wood.
from the Woodhouse Day Spa. Holiday gift cards available at chattanooga.woodhousespas.com.
We live in uncertain times. From extreme weather and natural disasters to civil unrest, don't panic. Be prepared. With protective gear and medical supplies, tactical and camping equipment, long-term food storage and water purification, ammunition and knives, alternative power solutions and lighting, P5 Preparedness has the products and training classes to help you through life's catastrophic events. P5 Preparedness at East Brainerd and Panorama Drive.
If you have an event coming up for the holidays, or maybe it is your daughter's wedding, or maybe just a church or office party, then you need to select Choo Choo Barbecue. That's correct, Choo Choo Barbecue. Whether you like pork, chicken, or beef, oh yes, Choo Choo Barbecue with their savory rub flavor. Oh my goodness, it's making me hungry right now. You add in their delicious smoked aroma, and you have set the table for a perfect meal with Choo Choo Barbecue. That's right, Choo Choo Barbecue. Why don't you give them a call right now? 423-843-9554. That's 843-9554. Call 423-843-9554. Choo Choo Barbecue. You know where it's located, off of Hickson Pike, right there at the Valley Brook area. Don't kid yourself. Your stomach is already on the way.
Here you are, working to keep your customers happy and manage your cash flow. IRS problems are the last thing you need, but here they are, flapping about you like vultures. Get help from Eric Pelton and his team of accountants at E.J. Pelton Company. Audits, letters, proposed return changes, 1099s, penalty threats. Pelton Tax Resolution Services brings peace of mind and helps you keep more of what you've earned. EJPelton.com. Offices on Brainerd Road and in Saudi Daisy, just north of the Bilo. That's E.J. Pelton. Call 622-3156. Think ahead. 622-3156. Tax-free investing, it's not what you make, it's what you keep. Edward Jones financial advisor Patrick Neal. Patrick will be giving a seminar December 10 at 6 o'clock and offering free barbecue dinner. His topic will be tax-free investing. It's not what you make, it's what you keep. We'll be talking about strategies in reducing your tax burden and in buying municipal bonds. Call 870-7894. That's 870-7894. Edward Jones and your host will be Patrick Neal, making sense of investing.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Hey, happy morning, afternoon. What is it exactly? I can't tell. When it's 11, I don't know if it's morning or if it's afternoon or if it's going into evening anymore. I don't know. 11:30 is a weird time. But here we are. This is Binary here on Hot News Talk Radio. I'm your host, Russell, here on Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240. And we're always here at hotnewstalkradio.com and on the TuneIn radio app for your smartphone. Just get TuneIn. That's TuneIn. Tough one, I know. And then search for Hot News Talk Radio, and you can listen to us streaming live on your smartphone that way. And that's a great way to listen to us. We do have some breaking news coming in, though. The gunman who is involved in that massacre in San Bernardino, his wife has reportedly had reportedly pledged allegiance to the Islamic State. Now, that's very troubling, but it's not yet confirmed. This is only a report. So we need to make sure that that gets confirmed, but it does appear that this is being reported from various news outlets, so I want to get that out there. It appears that the wife of the shooter in San Bernardino had pledged allegiance to ISIS and had actually posted an oath to a terror leader before this massacre happened. The AP is reporting that, and Fox is, and it looks like Reuters is picking up on that as well. So I'm going to keep you updated on that. Be sure to check out our Twitter, and you can see that here on Hot News Talk Radio AM 1240, and we're always here at hotnewstalkradio.com as well. Caller, you're on the air on Hot News Talk Radio. What's going on? Hello, caller?
Yes. Who's speaking?
This is Russell here at Hot News Talk Radio on Binary.
Oh, I've got the wrong number. Sorry.
That's all right. You know, it's funny. Actually, we get a lot of people calling for Dish Network. I don't know why. People always want me to install their dishes on the sides of their houses. I tell them to, drop the dish, just get Netflix and Amazon Prime, and that's all you need, and you're spending less. I don't know why. People always want me to install dishes, and I think that that is just silly. But it's always older people, too, so maybe they're not in the loop. But I do know that older people tend to listen to the radio, so I'm here to tell you now, it's really kind of a waste of time to get cable TV, honestly. I mean, come on. Let's be honest with each other here. It's kind of a waste of time a lot of the time to get cable TV. What do you watch on cable anyway? Let's think about this. What do you watch that's on cable? Maybe you watch something on USA. Okay. So you watch something on USA. Funny story. You can actually watch that on the website. Yeah. And most providers are like that. AMC, you can watch stuff on their website. Yeah. So there's a lot of different ways to watch your favorite TV shows, even if you don't have a cable subscription. So you can be a cord cutter, as we call them, and you can still watch most of your favorite shows. Now, that's not always the case. You might have some holdouts which don't want you to watch their stuff, but that's their problem, not yours. And there's plenty of different ways to watch content you want to see. Now, think about this. When Breaking Bad was big, the TV show Breaking Bad, I did not have a cable subscription. My parents did, but I didn't, obviously. And I would see it whenever I went there, but I didn't have a cable subscription. So I would watch Netflix and I would watch Breaking Bad as each season came out. And funnily enough, it seems like that was the case for a lot of people who watched Breaking Bad when it came out, is they would watch it on their TVs, on their smart TVs with Netflix, instead of just watching it on cable TV when it came out. And that model seems to be picking up some steam because you can watch the whole season all at once without having to wait. And it makes you wonder which model is better. Is it having an episode every week and then a long pause in between, or just give me all the episodes so I can binge watch them and then have a long pause in between them of about a year? Example, I'm watching a TV show, or I was watching a TV show. It's a cartoon, actually, called BoJack Horseman. And I liked it a lot. It's a really funny adult cartoon. I think it's great. It's kind of like The Simpsons, but darker. And I think it's great. And if you have kids, I wouldn't recommend you let them watch it. But if you're an adult, go ahead. It's funny. But the thing is, I only get to watch a season once every year. And that kind of bugs me. But maybe that's just because I need to get over the traditional model of television. I don't really watch that much TV anyway, so it doesn't bother me that much as it would if I were a regular addict to television. Fortunately, I'm not. Another example, of course, is Daredevil. It's another Netflix series, and Man in the High Castle is coming out rather soon on Amazon as well. So there's a lot of different examples of that, and we don't need to get into all of them, but it just raises the question, which model would you prefer? Would you prefer to watch a whole season all at once, or do you want to wait and or do you want to not wait and just watch an episode one after the other every week? It's up to you, really. I prefer to just watch the whole season all one sitting and get it over with. A lot of people aren't that way. So really, it's up to personal taste. It's not like you're wrong or bad for having cable, because you're not. But I prefer to not have cable, honestly, because I don't see cable as necessary. Especially, it seems like an unnecessary cost. It's way too expensive. I just don't like going for it, because there's not really anything on TV that I would watch other than the Olympics is coming up next year, and that's about it. And that's going to be broadcast on the internet as well. And fortunately, a lot of different providers, a lot of different carriers are catching on that the whole cable TV thing is sort of going away. Cable TV is going to be going the way of the dinosaur, hopefully soon. It might take longer than we hope, but it's going to go away. Here's the thing. How should I explain this? A lot of the older generation still watches cable because they don't know what else to do. And it's not really their fault, because it's not like you go and watch cable TV and you see an advertisement for something that's not cable TV, right? You're not going to go on USA Network or the CW, and you're not going to see an advertisement that says, hey, why are you watching cable TV? You should be watching Netflix or Amazon Prime instead. You're not going to see that. But you are going to hear from your friends who are watching stuff on Netflix. So what do? You can have cable TV and have Netflix, but again, that's expensive because Netflix is like $12, $15, I think, a month. It adds up. So what do? Well, I don't know. It's up to you, I guess. Do you want to get rid of cable, or do you want to stick with cable, maybe get Netflix, maybe not? You're fine with watching stuff on demand. It's all up to you. And actually, some cable subscriptions, oddly enough, come with Netflix. And that's even weirder. I'm not sure how that works, actually. Why would they do that? Because then that's just incentive to get rid of the cable subscription in the first place. Oh, well. I want to go back to this breaking news that's coming out right now, where a female shooter in San Bernardino, the female shooter in that attack, has reportedly pledged allegiance to ISIS. That's what the AP is reporting. We're just getting that in now, and we're trying to get more information on this particular story. But that's on... this is coming from Fox. I'm seeing it on CBS as well. And the woman involved was apparently the wife of Syed Farouk. Her name is Tashfeen Malik. She's, of course, dead. And she's believed to have posted pro-ISIS photos on the internet. Tashfeen remains the biggest mystery, said the leader of the area's Pakistani-American Muslim community. And so we're not sure exactly what is going on with that. Tashfeen Malik is believed to have posted her pledge to ISIS leader and self-proclaimed Caliph Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi on or around the time of the attack, in which she and her husband, Syed Farouk, stormed a San Bernardino party for his co-workers before escaping. The pair then died hours later in a shootout with police, and in the aftermath, the 29-year-old Pakistani woman has remained largely a name without a face. There's no confirmed pictures of her which have surfaced, and very few details have emerged about her as well. So there's not a whole lot of information about Tashfeen Malik. We really don't know a whole lot about her at this point. So we're going to keep you updated on what happens, and you can be sure to listen to the 5 o'clock news here on Hot News Talk Radio with Hot News Live at 5, where you can listen to us streaming live here on Hot News Talk Radio AM 1240, and we are always here at hotnewstalkradio.com as well. Get us on Twitter, where we're going to keep you updated on Twitter as well. Hot News Talk Radio on Twitter, where you report the world decides. That's AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio. And I'm constantly on Twitter updating the news and giving you information on what's going on in our area and beyond here on Hot News Talk Radio AM 1240 and hotnewstalkradio.com. Now it's being reported on TV that she was reported to have supported ISIS in a Facebook post. So is this an official ISIS attack? Is this simply an ISIS sympathizer? We don't know. But we're going to keep you updated here on Hot News Talk Radio as soon as we find out more here at Hot News Talk Radio AM 1240. And we're always here hotnewstalkradio.com. So you want to stay informed, right? How do you stay informed in the modern digital age where there's so many streams of information coming in that you don't really know how to stay informed? Because with so many streams of information, it's hard to discern which ones you should watch. Well, here's some tips. A great way actually to watch streams of different protests and such is to go to Periscope. Now, we're on Periscope right now. And what you can do is you just go to your app store. I'll help you out here. Let's go to the app store. I'll open up mine. If you open up yours, I'll open up my Play Store, and I'll do a quick search here. And I'll search for, wait for my keyboard to pop up, Periscope. Okay, so let's search for Periscope. There it is. It's a little blue circle with a white sort of teardrop upside down with a red circle inside of that called Periscope. And click on install. For me, it's already installed, so I'll hit open. It opens up, and I'm seeing different people who I'm following, different protests, and it's got world news breaking. I see stuff from people who I'm following right now. In fact, here's one from Eric Judd, which he made 4 hours ago. Mr. Judd just made a traffic report about 4 hours ago. But if I click on the globe, this is where it starts to get really cool. If I click on the globe, I can see a world map. Okay, so what do I see on this world map? Well, right now I can see the entirety of the continental United States. I can see all of Canada, and I can see South America, and I can scroll down and see Antarctica. Obviously, there's nothing going on there. But I can zoom in on the U.S., and I can see all the different little live broadcasts that are happening right now in the U.S. So let's zoom in a little bit further and see if there's anything going on in Chattanooga. Actually, yeah, there are 2 streams going on in Chattanooga right now. There's apparently a talk at Mount Berry, Georgia. Here's someone in Lookout Mountain who's just walking around and giving a view of what's happening. So really cool stuff. There's one at Harvest Mines at Chattanooga. Lots of cool stuff. So I can even broadcast live on Periscope as well, and you can see what I'm. You can catch what I'm throwing, if you know what I'm saying. So you can follow me on Twitter, and you can see whenever I'm broadcasting on Periscope, which is not terribly often, but I try to go on there. I'm going to try to start going on there once a day just to give an update on what's going on around the office, and you'll be able to see what I'm talking about here at Hot News Talk Radio and just the inner workings of the office, because that's always fun. Right now, it's a pretty hustle and bustle right now. Lots of people on the phone and lots of people trying to get in contact with all their news agencies and all sorts of fun stuff. But anyway, that's one way to stay informed. Another one is actually just Twitter. Believe it or not, Twitter is kind of a great source for eyewitness accounts of what's happening. So go on Twitter, and you can find different hashtags, or even you can just search for a particular topic. So I'm going to open up my Twitter app here. I'll just scroll over. I already have it installed. Open up Twitter. Okay. So let's click on the search, little search thing. And I'll search Twitter for, let's say I want to find out what's happening in Chattanooga. So I'll type in Chattanooga. There it is. Hit enter, or the search button, I guess. And then what pops up is a bunch of stuff about what's happening in Chattanooga. Actually, live updates. Let's see. Chattanooga Zoo is transforming into a winter wonderland this weekend. The Christmas lights at Ruby Falls. In the city of many bridges, do you know where to find Chattanooga's Glass Bridge? Of course I do. It's actually over by the Hunter Museum, right over at Walnut Street Bridge. So if you go to Walnut Street Bridge, the big blue walking bridge downtown, on one side of it, on the south side, there is the Hunter Museum. And it's a really nice museum if you haven't been there, by the way. But actually, if you turn right before you hit the entrance to the Walnut Street Bridge, there's actually a glass bridge that goes over the street. And you can look down and see cars, and it's really, really cool. So if you're new to Chattanooga, or maybe you just don't go downtown that often, definitely check out the glass bridge there. It's amazing. I can't get enough of it. You should definitely check out the glass bridge over at the Hunter Museum, right near the Walnut Street Bridge. Definitely worth checking out. And actually, Walnut Street Bridge is entirely a walking bridge as well. So you can just walk straight across it. And it's a really historic bridge, actually. It goes all the way back to the early 1900s. It's very cool stuff. And I love Chattanooga so much. There's a lot going on in Chattanooga that other cities just don't have. We've got the outdoor atmosphere. We've got great weather most of the time. We've got great people. You can't beat the people here. I mean, you can, but you shouldn't. You can't beat the people here in Chattanooga. We have some of the best personalities around here in the area. And it's not just local native Tennesseans either. Chattanooga attracts a lot of people from a lot of different places, like me. I'm a foreigner. I'm from Georgia, you know. I'm not even from Tennessee. I'm straight out of Georgia, straight out of Ringgold. I'm not even a real Tennessean. I got you fooled. I'm even a Georgia fan. There's even another reason to hate me. I am so bummed, by the way, that Mark Richt left UGA, or got fired from UGA. Oh my gosh, that is, I can't, words can't describe. But anyway, no, Chattanooga has so much to offer, especially in the tech realm, actually. We have a lot of great tech startups here. One that's being incubated by the Lamppost Group, actually, is a little company that specializes in Bluetooth sensors, which you can place around museums, and then people can walk around with their smartphones and get live, sort of like a guided tour from these little Bluetooth beacons. And it's really cool stuff. I love stuff like that. There's lots of different tech companies. Uber, of course, is going strong here in Chattanooga. There's a lot of different production companies here in Chattanooga. Chattanooga is a very tech-oriented city, and it still manages to stay small and stay local. And that's one of the things I really like about it. One of the many things I really like about Chattanooga. It's just a really great city. You can't beat it. I've been to a lot of different places. I've been to New York City for like 3 hours. I've been down to Louisiana, and I've been to Atlanta, although I will say Atlanta is vastly superior. I've been to Atlanta. I've been up to Canada. I've been to Boston. I've been to all sorts of different cities, and every single one of them, maybe I'm a little bit biased, but every single one of them, I wished I was back in Chattanooga. So Chattanooga has so much to offer, and even when I'm away, I wish I was back in Chattanooga. Even when I'm not even in the same country, I'm thinking, man, in Chattanooga, we'd be doing this or that. In Chattanooga, things would be much better than this. And I was just, man, it's weird because when we're here, we don't think things are better elsewhere. And that's one of the testaments to how good the city is. It really is nice. Now, there are some things that are not so great sometimes, like different ridiculous city council decisions, little things that bother us, but we can actually make a difference there because we elect these people and we can change what they do. We can actually mail them and they'll actually be more likely to listen to us because they're hyper local. It's not even on a state level, it's on a city level. You can walk down the street and see some of these guys who work in the city council. I've met 2 or 3 city council members, and I don't even live in Hamilton County. I don't even live in Chattanooga, and I can name off a few by name, and I have the cards of a few of them. So, it's kind of cool stuff. But anyway, this is Binary here on Hot News Talk Radio. We're brought to you by Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds. There's a total store sale going on right now. You need it now, not after Christmas. 50, 60, and 70% off on designer jewelry and gifts. Also, get cash when you sell gold, silver, bracelets, rings, diamonds, jewelry. Rick Davis will pay you cash personally, which is a great way to get some of that dough for the upcoming holiday season. Do they do Hanukkah gifts? I don't know. I'm not in that group, so I don't know. But if you do, you can get some cash at Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds. And if you're into the whole Christmas thing, which most of us are, you can also get cash from that to give for gifts for different people at the holidays. I was sort of thinking about what to get different people for Christmas. And I'm sort of on the fence, actually. My sister is tech oriented. She's not as techy as I am, and she never will be. But she is pretty tech savvy. She knows her way around a computer, right? She can figure things out pretty well. She's a smart kid. But I want to get her something that she'll really like and that's going to last a bit of a time. So I'm thinking about, and I'm sort of on the fence about it, but I'm thinking about getting a Chromebook, oddly enough, because Chromebooks are inherently low powered. If you're getting a Chromebook, don't expect to have the world's most powerful laptop because you're not going to get it. What the Chromebook is good for instead is for browsing the web, which is what most people do anyway. That's kind of the funny thing about it. Most people use their laptops and their desktops and their phones just for browsing the internet, which doesn't take a whole lot of processing power. So if you just want to say like the most intensive thing you're going to do is YouTube and Netflix, you don't really need a whole lot of power. So a Chromebook would actually be kind of okay for that. And it's not very expensive. I see them going for $150. So I'm actually seriously considering getting my my little sister a Chromebook for Christmas. I think that might be kind of a cool idea. Something else, by the way, if you're looking at different gifts for different people in your life and you're wanting to know what should I get? Well, one thing that you should take a look at is an action camera, because it seems like everyone wants one nowadays. You've got the GoPro, you've got the Sony action cam, which is what I use. You've got the Garmin. I can't remember what the Garmin one is called. They've got the Garmin camera that everyone seems to be clamoring for as well. You've got the Flex camera, all sorts of different action cameras. But really the two main ones I would say would be the Sony action cam and the GoPro. Now the GoPro much more so. The GoPro is the one that everyone seems to want. GoPro is marketed in like everything. GoPro's marketing is some of the best for a camera I've ever seen. It's really kind of astounding how it makes people care about a camera. Like, who cares about cameras on the consumer level? Somehow GoPro makes you care about cameras on a consumer level, and that's kind of genius, because you usually, if you're just going out to buy a digital camera, you probably don't really care that much what brand it is, what it does. It's just you buy a camera so you can point and shoot and take photos and videos, and that's all you need. But GoPro makes you care about what camera you get, because you feel like, I need a GoPro now. And it's weird because I don't actually have a GoPro. I have a Sony action cam and I'm totally fine with it. But I kind of wish I had one. It's really weird. It's sort of a weird thing. But yeah, GoPros are going for, I'm seeing them as low as $89, all the way up to a few $100s. $500 is the highest I've ever seen one. That's for the GoPro Hero 4, which just came out not too long ago. It seems like a new model comes out for every Christmas season, so take that as a hint. But it's a very gift-worthy item, the GoPro. If your kid is into, say, action sports like BMX and skateboarding and that sort of thing, then a GoPro is a good thing to get. Now, here's something to keep in mind. if, say, your child is into video gaming, you need to be sure you get the right thing, because kids are picky about what video games they play. Let me put it that way. We're very picky. I play a lot of video games, not as much as I used to, obviously, because, work and everything. But on the weekends, generally, I spend my time either reading or playing video games, because games are a great way to work out my brain. My noodle needs to get a bit of a workout. And I'm really picky about which games I play. Now, I buy all my own games. But let's say that you want to buy a game for your child. What can you get? Well, there are some options. There's a lot coming out on the PlayStation 4, and there's a lot coming out on the Xbox One, but I want to focus more on the hardware side. Let's say you don't actually have a game console. What should you get for your kid? Well, the best option is to just ask, what do you want? But chances are they don't want a Wii U. If they do, hey, fine. But chances are they don't. So the option comes down to the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. Does your kid like Halo? If so, they probably want the PlayStation 4, or sorry, the Xbox One. The Xbox One. If they're into Halo, they probably want the Xbox One. If they're into, say, God of War, they probably want the PlayStation 4. And if they're into the new Metal Gear Solid games, then they're going to want a PS4 as well. So just keep that in mind. Video games are kind of confusing for a lot of people to figure out what to get. So really the best option is to just ask, because something that I've realized over time is there's no harm in just asking somebody what they want for Christmas. What do you want? Don't try to surprise people. Sometimes it doesn't work, because then you end up getting them something that they don't want, and then they have to try to pretend to be happy about it. So just ask what your kid wants for Christmas. There's no shame in doing that. Hey, this is Hot News Talk Radio AM 1240, and we're always here at hotnewstalkradio.com. Coming up next after me is Colin Cowherd. He's on right here on Hot News Talk Radio. He talks about local, or rather national sports from his very, very unique perspective. I actually really like Colin, and I'm not into sports. I don't know how that works, but he's just really interesting to listen to. Coming up after him is, from 1 to 2, is Clutch with Keon Rose. He's our local sports expert, and he talks to you about sports here on Hot News Talk Radio AM 1240. He's got his fingers on the pulse of local sporting events, college football, high school football, all that good stuff, right here on Hot News Talk Radio AM 1240. And, of course, we're always here at hotnewstalkradio.com as well.